Anyone who says Russians are friendly to Chinese people, I'm really upset. We just got scammed by a taxi driver in Moscow. It's only about a 3-kilometer ride from Red Square to our hotel, and we saw the price for a ride-sharing car was $4. Since it was hard to get a ride-sharing car, we decided to take a regular taxi. The driver told us he'd use the meter, so we agreed. But when we arrived, he charged us $55 and insisted we pay. He kept asking if we were Chinese, probably to make sure it was easier to rip us off. So if you're ever in Russia, watch out. The Chinese government has always promoted a friendly relationship between China and Russia. However, after the Russia-Ukraine war began, some Chinese people joined the Russian military. On social media, a few Chinese mercenaries have posted videos expressing regret about their decision, saying things like, "One group of brothers after another was sent to the front lines and none of them returned. And I regret it so much." They've also warned people in China saying, "Don't come here."
咱们中国人不要再来了，真的不要再来了，太残酷了。
In addition, many Chinese tourists have shared that Russians don't seem very friendly toward Chinese people, and some even show discrimination. Why is this happening? Let's talk about it today. A Chinese female blogger posted a video on her TikTok account, Sister Na's Diary, saying, "Traveling in Russia is really unsafe. I spent 7 days there and every day I couldn't wait to go home. It was my first time traveling abroad and all I could think about was going back to China. Before I went to Russia, I thought Russians would have a good relationship with us and be friendly toward Chinese people. But after spending 7 days there, I found it was the complete opposite. I feel like in their eyes, we Chinese are seen as naive, rich, easy to scam, and unwilling to stand up for ourselves. So what happened during my 7 days there? On the first day in Moscow, I took a taxi. Just before we arrived, the driver tried to charge me extra and threatened to throw our luggage away if I didn't pay. Then, at the hotel in Moscow, I had another bad experience. The cleaning staff stole some of our things we had left in the room. Can you believe that? And this was a hotel that cost over $150 a night. At another hotel we stayed at, which was $33 a night, we asked to change the bed sheets, and the staff said it would cost $55. She said, "Can you believe it? To change the sheets on a double bed costs $55. Why don't they just rob us? They really treat us like animals." On January 31st, because of heavy snowfall in Zalaburka, the roads were blocked and we couldn't check into the hotel. She said, "When we tried to communicate with the hotel, they refused to refund even a single cent. If this had happened in China, we would have gotten a refund. There were so many situations like this, it was really disgusting." I think many Chinese people who go there don't speak Russian or English, so they have a hard time communicating. They have to rely on translation apps, which is inconvenient. So, when problems come up, people just avoid conflict, and that's when they think we're easy to scam and won't stand up for ourselves. She also shared that when she and her friend visited the Lenin Mausoleum at Red Square, her friend bought a beautiful thermos. The security said it couldn't be brought inside but could be left by her feet to pick up later. We were only gone for about 20 minutes, and when we came back, the thermos was stolen. She said her trip to Russia was very unpleasant and advised others not to go. There are so many situations like this. I really hope no one else ends up like me, going to Russia with money only to get scammed, ripped off, and not able to speak up. In the comment section, she wrote, "I don't know if many people have had similar experiences, but the things I went through were really bad. My friend and I both said we'll never go back again." In fact, there are many similar videos like this on Chinese social media. Don't tell me about how great the China-Russia friendship is. We got scammed just by taking a taxi. On the way, the driver even asked us if we were Chinese. When we said yes, he saw it as an opportunity to rip us off. Is Chinese money really that easy to take? From now on, we need to avoid taxis and use ride-hailing services more often, or we'll keep getting scammed. A friend online said a taxi from the airport to the city costs $220, but a regular ride-hailing service only costs $27. Isn't that just a scam? What else could it be? The video shows this male blogger and his friend in Russia taking a taxi. His friend gave the driver $55, but the driver refused to give back any change and kept saying, "Are you Chinese?" Then the driver just drove off with their money. One Chinese netizen commented on the video saying, "If you're going to Russia, you need a translator and someone who understands their laws. I've been there for over a year and it's really shady."
讲一下你的经历吧。
Can you tell us about your experience? One day I went to the supermarket to buy something. When I went to pay, the cashier, a woman, just set my items aside without scanning them and started talking to me in a language I didn't understand, probably Russian. I asked her to repeat what she said, but she ignored me and started helping the next customer. I was confused and asked her why. She replied in fluent Russian, saying, "Come back when you understand what I'm saying." A Chinese female student in the video says, "Our school hasn't let Chinese students shower for 4 days, and they don't even provide us with hot water. This is only happening to Chinese students. Russians and Mongolians can still shower like normal. We're not even on the same floor as them. On our floor, the dorm manager turned off the hot water and locked the bathrooms. On the Russian and Mongolian floors, everything works fine. They told the school that we Chinese students are dirty and make the bathrooms messy, so the school shut ours down. When we tried to talk to the school about it, they just said, 'Oh, the equipment's broken, it'll be fixed tomorrow.' Then, the next day, they said the repairman was sick and couldn't come. They kept making excuses to avoid letting us use the bathroom. This happens all the time. For example, we can't shower for 5 days, then we can for 5 days, and then we can't again for another 5 days. So, in a month, we only get about 10 days where we can shower." The blogger says that during his time studying in Russia, the thing that bothered him the most was the discrimination against Chinese people.
中俄关系现在说的这么友好，但是当你去到俄罗斯之后，你就会发现
People often say that China and Russia have a friendly relationship, but once you get to Russia, you'll quickly realize that if you don't speak Russian, you're treated like an outsider. Knowing Russian is really important there because Russia only accepts Russian. No other languages are widely used, so everyone pretty much speaks Russian. If you try to speak another language, they usually won't engage with you. They won't switch to a different language just because you're a foreigner. They'll only speak Russian, and if you can't understand, that's your problem. Even service workers at the lowest levels won't treat you differently just because you're a foreigner. Even though there are translation apps now, if they hear you speak anything other than proper Russian, they'll look down on you, judge you, and feel like you don't deserve to talk to them. It's as simple as that. If you don't speak Russian, getting around in Russia is really tough. After studying there for a long time, I still haven't warmed up to the country. The vibe I get from Russia is cold.
还是没有喜欢上这个国家，这个国家给我的感觉就是冷漠。
Lian Lian, a blogger studying in Russia, also shared that Russians aren't very friendly to Chinese people. If you don't speak Russian, even asking for directions on the street can be difficult. He shared one of his own experiences.
你在俄罗斯的大街上想要问路，或者是说想要求
If you don't speak Russian, asking for directions or help in Russia can be really tough. I had an experience in St. Petersburg with a friend. We were trying to find our way to our agency. We were already on the street, so it wasn't far, but since I couldn't read the signs, I asked an older Russian lady, probably in her 60s, for help. I used a translator app and asked, "Do you know how to get to this place?" As soon as she saw the translator and noticed my Chinese face, she started yelling at me. I didn't understand what she was saying at first. Later, when I told my agency about it, they said she was probably insulting me and telling me to leave. In my home country, this wouldn't happen, but in Russia, it's a reality.
国家至少不会发生这样的事情，但在俄罗斯这就是确确实实发生的事情。
This blogger, who has been studying in Russia for 5 years, says Chinese people face unfair treatment and cold attitudes in Russia for 2 main reasons. First, many products from China sold in Russia are of poor quality. Chinese goods are cheap, but a lot of them are knockoffs or counterfeit items. For example, some shoes are only good for one use. Second, many Russians view Chinese living conditions as messy and dirty.
有很多同学家长来问我，
Many parents of students ask me why so many Russians are unwilling to rent apartments to Chinese people. Do you know what Russians call us in movies and TV shows? They call us daka lang, which means cockroach in Russian. They think that Chinese people are very dirty, believing that if we cook every day and live in an apartment, it will get filled with cockroaches. Are they just insulting us? Honestly, this is a reality. Many Chinese students go abroad without basic life skills. They don't know how to take care of themselves and spend all their time in their rooms making a mess and creating trash.
在房间里面生活就是制造垃圾。
This blogger said, "Once we went to help a student move out because the landlord had kicked him out. Why? We checked the apartment, and aside from the hallways leading to the bathroom and kitchen, the rest of the apartment was full of garbage. It was shocking. He added, sometimes the people who are treated poorly also have reasons for it. When we face discrimination abroad, a lot of it comes from our own behavior. This female blogger also shared an incident in Murmansk, a small town in Russia, where she faced trouble while dining at a restaurant. We arrived around 1 p.m., so it wasn't mealtime yet. When we walked in, we saw plenty of empty tables. They asked if we had a reservation, and we said no. Then they told us, sorry, all the tables are reserved, and wouldn't let us sit. They also looked really upset. When we tried to walk further into the restaurant, she kept saying, stop, 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 over and over. There are only 2 restaurants in this small town, so we went to the other one. The service there was also awful. After we finished our meal, we spent $100, and they asked for a 10% tip, which is $10. I didn't give it. Since the Russia-Ukraine war started almost 3 years ago, many Chinese people have joined the Russian army as mercenaries. Some have complained online, saying they joined full of enthusiasm, but later realized, we are just cannon fodder. Not only have they not been paid on time, but they haven't received the promised bonuses for killing enemies or for injuries. One mercenary named Cricket released an audio recording describing the situation on the front lines. It's not scary to die yourself, but what really scares you is losing the close brothers around you. When your comrades die in front of you and you feel nothing, it's because you're heartless. You're in a foreign country, you can at least talk to them for a moment, and then they're gone. How do you feel? The brothers who came here either had no choice, needed money, or came because of China-Russia friendship. But the reality is nothing like the ideal. We're just cannon fodder. The Russians promised $2,700 a month, but I only got $500. They said we'd get $540 for every kilometer we advance, but we've gone 8 kilometers and not a single penny has been paid. They promised $540 for every enemy we kill. I killed 2, but still nothing. In September, 3 Chinese died and 6 were injured. In October, 3 more died. Our group had 20 to 30 Chinese, and now I'm the only one left. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.